So there was no way I was gonna let Israel take away the time that I could spend with my family over the holidays. So yes, I'm a little late reporting on this, but since I'm a little late, more details have come out. And it only adds on top of this absolute insanity that Israel continues to prove that it is nothing but suicidal in its actions. I mean, I find it crazy that it's still controversial to criticize Israel at this point. The brainwashing in the mainstream is so deep, it is so profoundly deep, not only on the geopolitical sense, but on the moral sense, on the religious sense. It is so deep in American culture, it is so deep in Western culture, that they legitimately turn a 360 blind eye towards Israel, to where any other country would be looked at as psychotic criminals, which they are. The political entity within Israel is criminally insane. So if you haven't heard yet, which I'm assuming many of you have, is that during Christmas in Syria, Damascus, Israel decided to launch an air attack on quote-unquote Iranian rockets, missiles, which after the details came out, it turned out to be yet another Syrian base where munitions were being stored. 3 Syrian servicemen were injured, but no others were injured, thankfully by the actions of not Israel, but the actions of Syria and Russia and their allies. You see, 16 bombs were launched by 6 F-16s via Israel, and it was timed so perfectly that 2 civilian airliners that were in the airspace at the time prevented some of the Syrian air defenses from launching to prevent another IL-20 incident, where Israel used the IL-20s as cover. Well, you know what they were doing? They were using civilian airliners as cover. They were using civilian airliners on Christmas, on a holiday, which there are millions of Christians inside of Syria, believe it or not. In fact, some of the oldest Christian churches are in Damascus. Was targeted on Christmas. It's like, at that point, do you have any morals whatsoever? And I think Israel continues to prove on a daily basis that they do not have that. They are literally the physical representation of what we see as evil. It's kind of insane, isn't it? And it just goes to show the whole Sabbatean mindset. You know, the Zionists, where they evolved from the Sabbateans. They came out of the Sabbateans. And I did a whole documentary on my channel about what the Sabbateans were, how they originated, and how they started to work their way into society. But nevertheless, 2 of those bombs did make it through due to the circumstances, and did injure some of those servicemen and completely wiped out that building that was holding munitions for the Syrian Arab Army, deliberately targeting the Syrian Arab Army, and Russia's condemning this, and Syria's condemning this, and we could see a retaliation by Syria, because that is now very likely on the table due to the circumstances that Russia put forward after the IL-20 incident. Now, some of you may wonder why the S-300s weren't activated, but from what I've heard, they will not be fully operational until January, because they had to train Syrians how to use these devices. And it just so happened that the day before, 150 of these air defense servicemen that were training and operating these S-300 systems were just recalled, I believe, for the holidays, to head back to Russia for the holidays. So that's another thing that Israel was quick to take advantage of. So during this attack, they were just using the standard air defense system, the older models, to repel these attacks, which they did a pretty good job of, considering that they knocked out 14 of the 16 bombs that were launched. And had they not used these civilian aircraft for cover, they likely would have gotten shot out of the sky as well. Nevertheless, we just get another example of the mindset of the Israeli government. We get the mindset of Zionists, we do not care about morality, we do not care about human rights, or any kind of violation. All we care about is getting what we want, and we'll do whatever we have to do to get it, even if that includes taking everyone down with us. We don't care. And keep in mind, I've had a day or two to absorb that and not be so reactionary about it, and I still am reaching that conclusion that they are completely suicidal, which I'm sure most of you have already been to that conclusion for a long time. But if you needed just another bit of proof, there you go. Israel. That's the mindset. And yet it's still controversial to talk about the Israeli government committing war crimes on the daily. That's going to be all for this one. Again, we really didn't put out any videos this week because of Christmas, because I was spending time with family. Again, I'm the only one that is operating this channel as of right now. So if you appreciate the work we do here and want to continue to see us grow, head on down to the links in the description below and send us a buck or two. And like I said in the last video, I do plan on talking about other subjects as well, including ancient history and real science. Continue to keep your eyes open. And as always, this has been Tyranny Unmasked.